Hello everybody, welcome to another toy unboxing video with me, your favourite herpetologist, Steve Allain. I've got something special for you today. This doesn't include a set by Toy Mini, but instead from Mojo Fun. I know, shock horror. So what we're going to do is open the box, go through each of the figurines one by one, talk about them, review their features, and then we'll evaluate at the end and see how well Mojo Fun has done compared to their competitors, and perhaps where things can be improved if they need it. So let's get started. Because of the size of some of these, I'm going to do it this way around rather than emptying the box out like I usually do. But as you can see here, the first model that I grabbed is a green anaconda. Hopefully to many of you that was instantly recognizable. They are one of the largest species of snake, and they have this dark olive green color, these yellow and black spots down their flanks, and this quite recognizable face. Looking at all of the scales, there's fine detail there. I really like this depression in the body where it's sitting on itself. That is a very fine detail. And the underneath isn't as realistic as it could be. Snakes have scales that go horizontally all the way along their underside. This seems to have a crosshatch pattern, but again, you're not really going to see that, and it may just be a limitation of the manufacturing process. But you know, a very good model there overall. Who's next? Okay, got another snake, and I'm going to spin it around so you guys can see this is a spectacled cobra. It's called that because it has these sort of spectacle markings on the back of its hood. This is a nice dynamic pose. You can see that it's up at alert. It's flashing its hood, which is a defensive posture, in order to try to warn potential predators and people that it will bite you. These guys are highly venomous, so if you do see a cobra hooding like this, you know, it's time to back off. Aha! It appears here that the sculptor here paid attention to the underside of the snake. This is the sort of scutes that snakes have on their underside, instead of that cross-hatching that we saw on the green anaconda. The coloration here, the detail on the hood and on the head all makes this look very lifelike and unmistakable. So a great job done there. Okay, we've got species here that hopefully many of you are familiar with, especially if you live in Florida. This is the American alligator, and you can see that its jaw does open and close here. I don't want to break it, but it does open quite wide. We've got fine detail here on the scales on the back, the paddle-like tail, the underside, these nice webbed hind feet. That's a nice feature. All of the individual scales on the underside are correct, and the coloration is great as well. And the other thing as well I like with this is the way that they've painted this. Is it kind of looks like that the alligator has some dried mud between different parts of his body, and is on the move between two different water bodies. So a great job there, and attention to detail to what these animals do in life as well. Let's pop him down there. Next we have another long model, and this hopefully most of you will recognize is the Komodo dragon, the world's largest lizard. And these are probably one of my favorite species of lizards, if not the top species of lizard, because of their large size and the fact they're venomous. This coloration is exactly how they look. I'm not really sure why the head seems a bit green here. I'm not sure that's coming up in the camera. It may be based on their reference images. These guys will lunge at prey that are in small stagnant pools and get their heads covered in algae and that sort of stuff. So perhaps that's what's going on there. Scalation all looks good. The detail on the feet here as well. The wrinkles in the neck and around the head region, that is all brilliant detail. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else here I can comment on, apart from the fact that this is quite a decent Komodo dragon model. I've seen a few that are less good than that, and there are some that are better. So this is, on the better end of the scale. Okay, then we move on to something that I think could be improved more. So this is supposed to be a strawberry poison dart frog. They kind of look like Spider-Man with this red and blue coloration and these black speckles on their back. The coloration is perfect. This is exactly what a strawberry poison dart frog looks like. However, the form of the body is not correct. They don't really look like this. This is more akin to a tree frog. And the reason why I say that is because Mojo Fun also make a tree frog. And I can see here, by putting them side by side, that these are the same form. They've just changed the color mask. So let's go to the red-eye tree frog quickly. Got those nice stripes down the side, the yellow feet, the green body, the detail of the red eye, and you can see that that is, fairly reminiscent of a red-eye tree frog. A brilliant job there. However, when it comes to the strawberry poison dart frog, not so much. And we saw in the Toy Many frog figurine set how a strawberry poison dart frog should be done. However, if you're not looking for photorealism, then this is still perfectly fine. However, in my mind and in my eye, it makes more sense to have a frog that is photoreal because it helps more with education, also recognizing those species in nature and hopefully valuing them more as well. I'll leave those guys there. Next, we have another monitor lizard. Great to see a couple of these in this set. And this guy is the Perentie, which is found in Australia. These guys are quite large. Coloration on this and the fine detail of the toes is very well done. If we compare it back to the Komodo dragon, the feet aren't as splayed here. And unfortunately, I feel that means that these toes could be quite vulnerable, especially to breaking. So if you do get one of these, be careful of that. However, we've got a nice dynamic pose in the head here. The throat pouch has been extended. You can feel those wrinkles in the skin as well as see them. The coloration, as I mentioned a moment ago, it is spot on and looks and feels what I imagine a Perentie would feel like if it was this small. So well done there, guys. Now we're going to move on to another chameleon, and this is a Yemen or a veiled chameleon. And because of the size of the cask here, we can tell that this is a male. The coloration here for a veiled chameleon is perfect if the yellow was swapped for the dark green and vice versa. So they've done a great job with this. However, I feel the colors could be a bit better. If they were reversed, then it will look even more like a veiled chameleon, but it may be due to the manufacturing process that hasn't been done. Again, great detail on the hands, the tail, the back here, the spines on the underneath into the gullet region is all phenomenal. And as I've said in previous videos, model chameleons are some of my favorites, and so I'm happy for this guy to go and join those in my collection. Going to move on to another crocodilian now, and I believe that this is a saltwater crocodile. It may be a Nile as well. I think it's a salty. And so, again, the jaw opens and closes, but I don't want to break it, so I'm going to leave that for the time being. Lots of detail on the back here, like we saw with the alligator. A different dynamic pose this time. Yeah, to compare it with the alligator. And the coloration here, again, is spot on. A lot of detail with the tail, the change in the scales there, and the feet. So a great addition to anyone's collection who likes crocodilians. Got a couple more snakes to go. So this guy is obviously a diamondback rattlesnake in a pose striking forward. The rattle is up, which indicates that the snake is in a defensive posture. And we've got this S-shaped curve in the neck, which is striking posture. Given that it's striking towards the camera, hopefully you can tell that if you see this in nature, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and like the Cobra should probably back off a little bit. It's a little bit smaller and less chunky than rattlesnakes are in nature. They tend to be, quite girthy. They're quite broad. But apart from that, that looks just like a diamondback rattlesnake. And again, we have Mojo Fun working to ensure that the scutes there are correct. And this is the final one. Yep, okay. So the final snake we have here is a coral snake. And these guys are highly venomous and found in North America and South America. However, looking at this, the detail on the scales is fine. However, it looks too much like a worm to me. That there's no definition on the head here, which is a shame. The coloration is spot on. The scales are perfect. However, it just looks far too much like a worm, or perhaps even a Sicilian in that fact. But we've got to remember with these things that there are limitations in the manufacturing process. There are limitations with the color masks, with being able to sculpt fine detail at this scale as well. And so that's all of the animals I wanted to share with you from Mojo Fun. The frog's hiding away from his buddy. Thinking about how these have been executed, most of them have been done really well. The only one that I'm really upset about is this guy down here, the strawberry poison dart frog. But apart from that, this cobra, the green anaconda, the American alligator, Komodo dragon, all ones that I would quite happily spend quite a bit of money on in order to add to my collection. And I'm sure you want to as well. So if you do, there will be links in the description, and please remember to use my discount code in order to get yourself some discount. And thank you to Mojo Fun for sending me these models, and I look forward to reviewing another batch in the next video. Thank you all, and I'll catch you soon.